Let's think about some reservations that people have got. Even within our community, we've got people that one day I'm coming. The next day, no, not sure. I'm going to be devil's advocate now, and I'm going to throw some reservations at you, some ones that I've heard, and the other ones I'm making them up. But let's have some fun with these. So let's pick up the classic one, shall we? It's too expensive.
Oh, that's easy. Okay, right. So this is not even. I'm not even going to give time to this. Just think of the amount of money you spend in a year on your alcohol intake. Divvy it up, write it down, shock yourself, then compare it to what you get for the £2,000 or just under on a trip of a lifetime. Compare the two, and I'm sorry, you just exchange one for the other. And between now and next October, it would not surprise me if you were roughly around the same numbers. So the trick is, you save your drawing money into a little pot or a bank account. It's like a savings account for your self-treat. Yeah, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, and we've got people that are doing that, haven't we? We've got Jan, who's got a Bali bank account, and every month so much goes into that account, and she's nailing it. Here's another one. Oh, I've never traveled that far before. It's so far away. I don't even like traveling that much. What would you say to them?
I really understand that, actually, because it is a scary long way. And if you don't live in Asia,
or Australia, it's a nice close hop for Australia, isn't it?
So the way to get around that is pretty easy. You book a flight that goes overnight. So say your flight is 10 hours long, you make sure that your flight is overnight, of which 6 or 7 hours you will be asleep. So your actual awake time is 3 hours. So you've got your food, you've got your films, you've got your knitting, the neighbours to chat to, and before you know it, you've arrived at the other side. And you don't waste any time because you've done it overnight. I really encourage that. So it's a long way. It has to be a long way to be so different. And this is what we're aiming for. We're aiming for the most far apart kind of living and lifestyle from what you know. We're trying to break with what you know. And you have to go far for that. So that is the trade-off. But if you travel overnight, the time goes very quickly and suddenly you wake up in 2 hours' time you've landed. Boom!
Exactly. We've got people already booked that are coming from South Africa, UK, Europe, US. So we've got people coming from all these different directions, which is quite fun. And we should be able to arrange for some people to travel together. I think already somebody from the Midlands in UK, I heard her talking to someone else about maybe getting the same flight from London. So that's also a fun way to travel, isn't it? Okay, here's another one. Well, I've got a very senior job and I'm far too busy to take the time off. The whole place will collapse without me.
Okay. Now, that's legitimate as well, because I used to have this when I was Mrs. Corporate. Just don't have time. Just don't have the time. What are they going to do without me in the office? If I leave, someone's going to take my place. That was what I was worried about. Anyway, so I really understand that. All I can say is, you have to carve out time for yourself. It's just one of those kind of rituals, practices, habits that we need to start doing more and more of in our sobrieties, putting up those boundaries. One of those boundaries is carving out time where you are in control of your own time. Now, I understand that there'll be many demands on our time, the children, the husband, the family. But of that limited bundle of time, you can definitely allocate a portion, and for goodness sake, 1 week in 1 year or more, if not that big a deal. So plan, put it in the diary, start to warn everybody around you. If you're worried about work, you've put everything in place so that it's robust and there's no excuse why the shop won't carry on without you.
Yes. Don't stay connected with the shop while you're in Bali, please. We don't want people doing work emails, do we?
Nope. No, Wi-Fi free zone.
Oh. Here's another one from the 1950s. My husband won't let me.
I love this. Sort of thing my mum would say. I still does, actually. Okay, so my answer to that is pretty brutal. So unless your partner has done this sobriety thing with you, and let's assume he hasn't, then what earns him the right to go on this adventure with you that you've done on your own? So you have done this sober thing on your own, and therefore I'm going to do my sober holiday on my own. So it's just a case of, if he had joined me, then yes, we would have that discussion, but this is not a discussion to be had. It's healthy to do things on your own. It is very healthy to have your own world, to have your own independence, to not cohabit with somebody to the point where you're so unmatched, it is actually unhealthy.
Yeah.
So just to have that time to yourself, to flourish, and then all you have to say to him is, when I come back, I'll be absolutely buzzing and even better and happier. You'll come back absolutely buzzing, and they'll go, oh, you could do that again. I remember Jan actually coming back from the Swiss one at my house, and her husband was very skeptical. She comes back full of it. Then we did this and then we did that. I'm so excited that to sell him the idea of going to Bali would have been a lot easier, because he thought, I liked the Jan who came back from that first one. She clearly enjoyed it. She got a lot of energy from that. Go, girl. I was just breaking the cycle.
Yeah, very interesting point, because it's very easy for couples, I think, to get in that rut where they do everything together. And if you are in that place, this might take a bit of courage and a bit of discussion to negotiate for that time apart. But it could, as you say, really refresh and rejuvenate your marriage. So many advantages there. And here's another one. I've got small children. How are they going to manage without me? I've never been away from them.
Okay, so I've definitely been there. My children are a bit older now, and I use that as an excuse so many times. And note, I said excuse because it's not the children who are going to miss you. I think it's you who's going to miss them. So I would use this excuse over and over because I was worried that maybe my mum wouldn't look after them quite as well as I do, and she'll forget how to pack the lunches. And it was just me being fearful that things wouldn't run up to my standard when I'm away. In fact, the second you're out the door, they have a whale of a time. It is good for kids to have a grandma, an auntie, a babysitter, husband, partner, whoever, to look after them, because it just gives them a different idea of how to do a week. When you come back, they'll go, and Daddy said that we could watch television with our white cheese sandwiches in front of the television, and you just have to go zip. Okay? It's good for them, and it's good for you. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing, of course, is you have enough time to plan and to put babysitters in place. We have a long time, so you can ask around, almost interview everyone around you, who is the best person you could take for kids and how that will work. I really understand that. It's a real fear, but it's all the more liberating when you get to Bali knowing that you've done it and they were fine.
And what about me? I've got 3 teenagers. They're going to run wild without me.
Teenagers, bigger kids, bigger problems. Yeah, so the fear there is obviously they're going to have parties, not get up for school, eat noodles every day. It's all the kind of teen trash stuff. In that case, you need to have a responsible adult at the house. I mean, I would not feel comfortable if I didn't have an adult in the home to make sure that they actually did what they were supposed to do. It's during the October holiday term for a lot of us. Then in that case, then get them off on a holiday with grandma or with so-and-so. I've got my husband taking my little one on a mountain biking trip. And that was his idea. And I was absolutely not what I'm interested in. He's probably been waiting for me to get out of his hair so that he can propose to 𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐫 to do that. And there we go. So you just kind of drop some little hints at your other half about how they might like to spend the week with their children, doing more, I don't know, things that you don't like to do. I don't know, water park, whatever.
Here's a good one coming from me. Oh, I'm too old to do a trip like that. Surely it's for younger people.
Well, that's a load of nonsense, Janet. A, you're not old. B, did you know there was some statistic about they've got the highest percentage of not quite centenarians, but the 80 plus, and they're all managing just fine. They sleep on mats on the floor. They're out doing the chickens. They may not have a hospital around every corner. You know, they manage just fine. They're kept active. So there's absolutely nothing to suggest that the island is for, 25-year-olds who are going to go clubbing every day, because the island, you can escape. You can find your jam wherever you are. And where we are in 𝐷𝐵𝐿, it is the spiritual epicenter of the island, where we're all going to forget our age and just be together. So age is just not a factor. You just need to get on the island, get the transfer, and age doesn't come into it.
Fantastic. I did check as well with our resort, and there's excellent medical facilities available should anyone have a problem. Here's another one. I'm an introvert and I'm very nervous about spending a week with complete strangers.
So on my last retreat, I would say there were 5 women who were more comfortable with themselves, who just going up to you and introducing themselves. And I'd say there were 5 who were much more reserved and were observers and quieter. And it just wasn't an issue, because you really are all coming in on the same page. No one's better than anyone else. Someone might have a louder voice or look like they're really confident when you just know deep down they're probably not, but it's just the way they are. But everybody has their wobbly moments. I saw that in the week, and everybody has their happy moment. Everyone has their I need help moment. So you really do see everybody, the good, the bad, the ugly, the quiet.
Yeah.
So if you come into it reserved at first, you've got time. Just mingle.
And those daily sharing circles mean we go deeper and deeper, and people are being vulnerable and they're connecting on a deep level with each other. So that builds up, doesn't it, during the week?
Gosh, yeah.
And we saw an element of that at your house in France when there were 10 of us together, and the groups were kind of shifting and changing throughout and doing different stuff throughout the time we were there. Right, you're doing very well, Ellen.
Well,
Got a last reservation for. Well, it's not a reservation, actually. It's a straight question. I've stumbled upon this podcast. I don't really know why I'm listening, but this retreat sounds quite interesting. But I've never really had a problem with alcohol. But I like the idea of hanging out with some other women in a beautiful place. And I just really need some time to rest and recharge. Would it work for me?
Absolutely. Yeah, of course. As long as you know the rules. We don't have many ground rules, but one rule will be there will be no booze.
Of course.
Of course. Another rule will be don't bring booze into the thing. So if you're somebody who is still drinking or likes to drink every now and then, you just don't bring it in. So you need to understand the ground rules. But if you're curious and you're very happy to have it as a dry week and you're there to chill and connect, why not?
Yeah.
You just got to play the rules and just blend in with everyone else. Because, of course, dependency on alcohol, in my view, is the same cycle of thinking as dependence on a drug, vaping, shopping, sex, etc., etc. So whether you come to the table with drink was my issue, you might come in with, say, drink is a bit of an issue, but I'd say the one that really is more than that is I just can't seem to kick the marijuana. You will find from the discussions that it's very similar thoughts, circles, conflict, decision, all this kind of thing is very, very similar. So it's going to be immensely helpful as well.
Absolutely. So perfect for the sober curious.